Hi, this is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and this is Thursday, July the 19th. This will be our chart lesson for today. And really all we had was a nice trading range today. Um, it wasn't even a very big trading range, although it did move pretty quickly between from side to side. And just to give you an idea of how you could easily find these, here were the highs from yesterday afternoon, and that was the support area. And then here's your double top from the overnight, and that was your resistance area up there. And you really had, once the market, the regular open here, once you made that double top, that was really kind of the, where most of the prices stayed in that 68 to 73 kind of area. So maybe a 5 point trading range. We did break out higher here, but it just failed and turned down. And I love these kind of days. They're easy trading days for me because it's so predictable. But I know these are hard days for newer people and people that are not familiar with the ES or not familiar with buying and selling strong support and resistance. But we'll talk about that in a minute, and I'll show you what I look for, and we'll kind of go from there. But there's a couple of key things that you can do that will really help you with that. But let's talk about the trades. Hopefully you recognize this is a range day. If you don't even recognize that, then you got some work to do. But hopefully you recognize this is a range day, and because it's pretty straightforward. But here's really your first trade today. There was a long here. I guess you could have gone long here, but there's just too many overlapping bars. It's right at the open. And so we really were already heading back to the EMA as the market opened. So not a really good setup there, but then we went into this little overlap. We tried to go lower a couple of times. We tried to go higher a couple of times. But this bar right here, this was really what triggered this was the second entry trigger. But what I really liked about it was we got stuck right here, and then we went higher and broke higher, and then it ended up coming down here and closing, and this thing closed way down here. So you could have gone long right here on that trap, or you could have gone long way down here expecting that prices are going to come at least down to here and probably all the way down to there. Um, and then of course we made the double bottom, and this had been resistance, and now it's acting as support. And when you got this little bounce right here, this far away, and this is the clue I'm talking about, when this bar is formed right here, down here at this low, here's your support. It was resistance before, so now it's a big double bottom is all it really is. And when you're that far, because your EMA would have been right in here by that time, and when you're that far away from the EMA and you're at a former strong resistance area that's now acting as support, odds are high that you're going back to the EMA. And so going long right there was an easy scalp, and you didn't get any more than that, but the trend was kind of down, and you could have even had a trend line down through.
Connection lost.
I lost my connection, but that doesn't matter. You could have even had a trend line down through here that maybe looks something like that, and that might have even alerted you to take a short right here, but this was a risky short after having a failed break lower. Um, but you could have had that trend line there, and that might have helped you with this trade as well. But even without it, you still should see that that's a double top when prices are trending lower. And look how even though the highs are not really lower, the closes are, and that's a good signal that we cannot close as high, so the buyers are weaker and the sellers are stronger. And when you had that little trap there on top of it, that was a great place to go short. That was an easy. Any runners, you should have at least let them run to this low right here before we bounced. And if you held on, you might have even got, rode it all the way down to this low down here. And again, you had your double top here, or double bottom here, I'm sorry, and you had a failed break lower. And so there's a long right here. Look at this reversal bar. Anytime you're this far away from because the EMA would have been way up here when this was starting to get this overlap. So when you get a bunch of bars that overlap and they're at a far extreme, way away from the EMA, and especially when there's support, because you see there's support down here. You see that from those lows right there. So there's support down there on top of that. It's just another support area. And so when you're bouncing on that and you're that far away from the EMA with a reversal bar like that went lower first and then turned and closed on its high, that's a great place to go long because it's a trap, and there's trap shorts. And the reason this really shot a lot higher here is because they trapped them again. It pulled back and then turned down here, and I guarantee you a lot of weak traders got short right there when you could have been entering long. It's a little more risky entering long here because you're getting really close to the former support that could be resistance now, and you're also getting very close to the EMA. So the better entry was right here because there was plenty of room to scalp out. And what I will a lot of times do is take my limit order. I'll wait for this to break higher to confirm that prices did break higher, and then I'll drop a limit order, maybe a tick or maybe even 2 ticks. And you may not have got filled on 2 ticks here, but you would have gotten filled on 1 tick right here, and you would have only had to have prices go to right in here. So you wouldn't, but they went plenty, you know. Generally when you get a failed break like that, we're going all the way back to the other side, and that's where we win, although we did test this low again one more time here. And this is just a 2-legged pullback. You see that, 1 leg back, pull back, 2nd leg, and again you got another double reversal right here. So going long above either one of those bars would have been okay, and it was off to the races. Any runners probably would have been safe on this trade, and so you could have gotten, you know, 5 to 6 points out of this move right here. Then we had this little double bottom here, and now look, prices are trending higher. Everything's above the EMA now. We're pulling back, and we got a little double bottom across here, and you could have even used those lows right there, and you can see that little bounce right there, and there's a reversal bar. You got a long right there, and that's another great quick move to the top right there. Any runners probably, your runners may not have been safe on this one. It seems like my runner got stopped out on that trade right there. And that was my last trade of the day. I was done after that, although I was really tempted to take this trade. And let me show you this, just like I talked about down here. First of all, you got your double top over here, and it's a, you know, and you're getting resistance there, and you break higher. But I can tell you, without a doubt, there were a ton of traders that got long right there. And, you know, and I see it happen every day, and I'm sitting there thinking, hey, this is free money for me, because they're going to all watch this thing reverse back and at least pull back to the EMA, but this thing's rocketed on down. That shows you how many people got trapped right there. That big a strong move that went straight back through the EMA, hardly checked up and kept going. I guarantee you there were a ton of trap traders right there. And let me show you this. Let me back out where this is very easy to see, because this is critical. I got an email from a trader today that was asking me about that he has a hard time selling support and resistance, and for some reason my line is disappearing across there. Don't know why that is. There we go. Not sure why it was disappearing, but let me show you this. I want to get this really big where you can see the price action. But notice, well, here's one thing. This could be one clue too. You've got one leg up right there, and then this next leg. See how that's almost a perfect, I bet you it really is almost a perfect measure move. Let's just see if it's not perfect. There's your first move up, then your 2-legged correction, and there's your 2nd leg. And I mean, that's almost a perfect measured move. So that's your first clue. There's 2 legs up to a double top. And again, I'm going to show you that again. You had your double top. Actually, it's back over here. So you know there's strong resistance there. But look at this. Look how far prices are overlapping really bad right at that resistance area. And at the time, the EMA would have been way down here. So the prices are way away from the EMA. And when you start to get that overlap and then prices break higher and you get a reversal bar of some type, especially if there's strong resistance there, that's a great place to go short. And going short right there would have got you this whole move right here. And again, that's all the way back down to, guess what, support. And then you get your pullback right to the EMA. And again, we talked about that yesterday. Where are all of your pullbacks? And I mean, this is just a short-term trend back to the other side. And again, it's, let me show you the move, the legs here. There's leg 1. And then there's leg 2 right down, and so you know your target's probably down here, and hopefully that's easy for you to see. And this is just a correction in there, and look, it's really, you tried to go up once, pulled back, tried to go up again, and then this is a nice reversal bar. So there's your short right there, and your target is, you're thinking a measured leg, and that's back down to the other side. If you measure the actual closes, look at there, it's a perfect measured move, and you'll see that a lot. And so it's, your target is, you should be thinking right back down here to where the previous support was, where that target area was, and the target was actually right there, and that's where the lowest close happened at. And then you got a nice reversal bar there. Um, the thing is, you got this is like an up down bar, and that's not always a really good setup. You did have the move out the bottom here. Um, so this one was a little tricky, because you probably would have got stopped out if you would have entered above this bar. But it's better to wait till when you're way away from the EMA and you start to get the overlap, like right here, and you wait for it to go out the other side and then reverse. So, and even though this bar closed on its high, there's no green body, so that's still a doji, a really kind of iffy bar. And if you took that, you see what happened and went one tick. So they ran the stops on probably the first two attempts to get long down here, and I guarantee you there were some traders that tried to get long, and they ran the stops on them a couple of times before this bar. And this was really the signal bar that I like, because this is a second entry short. First entry short, second entry short, and usually when you get a second entry short that fails and reverses, that's a trap. And so you could have gone along right there, and it's really late in the afternoon, so we didn't even get back to the high again. But you would have got your scalp here. It would have been a good trade. And there was another entry right here, and this is just a breakout pullback long, and you can see we broke above these little resistance areas, little double top here, pulled back, tested it, and then we went higher again. And this is a second entry long, and let me show you these it's just two measured legs. There's, oops, wrong line. Leg one, then a pullback, and leg two, a perfect measured move basically. So hopefully you can see that. Yeah, that's a perfect measured move, two legs. And then we went into all this, and by the time when you're seeing all this chop, and then we kind of got flat right here, and then it's really too late in the afternoon to take any more trades. And that's what's happened. Most of the people have already made their money for the day, and it's not worth it to enter on this. So you're better just to quit and go home and call it a day. And so that was really it for a day. But you can see on a day where there's not really a trend, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 fairly good trades there. And there were some other trades in there. They're not trades that I particularly like a whole lot, but there's some other trades in there that met our rules that you could have taken. And I mean, there was a short right here because it was a failed second entry long, and it would have worked because it is and it's mostly because it was probably a trap. And that bar right there shows you what caused that bar to be so bearish right there is all these people that got long decided they better get out, and they started exiting before they lost a lot of money, and that drove that bar down really hard and closed on its low. And then so that brings in more shorts, and all these people got short right here, and then the buying came back in because of all the support down here. The smart traders came back in right here, and then it rockets off back to the upside again. And so don't get trapped. This was not a good short, simply because look at all that overlap. Anytime you start to see that much overlap or congestion, the odds are it's going to break out and reverse. It broke out, it'll break out the top and reverse. It might break out the bottom, and it may break out. Look at this overlap right here. This is similar right here. We broke out the top, reversed, and broke out the bottom, and kind of made a double bottom, and then it went higher. And that's the way it'll do. They'll trap people several times, and but the movement was up at this point, so you should have been thinking, watch for the trap on the low side and then go higher. And the ones I feel sorry for are the ones that guaranteed went long right there. And somebody else sent me a message today. I'm going to discuss this real quick, and then we're going to call it a day. But he says he always enters too late. Well, your signal bar is what you're looking for, and once you miss your signal bar, it is too late. You can't enter. So if you don't see the signal bar, and just like, let me give you an example. Like, this is your signal bar right here, and you got to get long. And actually, as long as that bar is, I would have, you're probably wanting to drop a limit order in here or here, and If you want to be a little more aggressive, you could drop it in down here hoping you get filled. But as you see on this trade, it never ticked through, so there's a good chance you may not have got filled. But with one tick back, you would have got filled right here, and that's a long bar. And it's better to miss the trade than it is to get a bad entry and enter way up here, because you could just come back up here and touch the EMA or this breakout and turn back down again. And we don't know exactly what it's going to do. So you can't enter too late. But look for signal bars, and they're usually going to be a trend bar in your direction. So in other words, if you're looking to get long, you need a green bar. You need a bar that looks like a reversal bar that's green, that's going your way. You can't wait for the second bar and be getting in way up here. You're getting in too late, because there's a good chance it can correct again. And that's what happens right here. You start getting a lot. When this thing starts moving higher, this starts attracting more and more traders, and all the ones that come in late to the party get in right in here, and then it reverses on them and they get stopped out, and then it goes higher and they say, and you just get whipsawed. So you've got to see the reversal bars, and you have to enter at those reversal bars. The idea is, and it's really this simple, you have to buy low. So that's why we like buying this strong support and resistance, because we're buying low where prices are going to bounce, and you got to sell high when you get up to these highs. And so with your highs being up here, you want to sell whenever prices get up here. And look what happens if you just wait till it came to that double top. You sell and it goes lower. And the same thing here, if you just waited for it to come back and test this support area that was resistance yesterday, and it goes long from here. Sure, a few times what they're going to try to do, they try to take it lower. They ran some stops doing that, so it kind of gets tricky. But look, if you just waited till you got down in this area and bought every time, it went higher. And if you just sold every time from up here, it went lower. So you got to remember that. And but anyway, we're about 17 minutes into this thing. It's a little longer than I wanted, but I wanted to go over some of this stuff. Hope you had a great trading day. I love these kind of days because they're so predictable and they're so easy. And what I will tell you that will help you, I'm going to say one more thing and then I'm going to call it a day. But one thing that may help you is just remember, wherever your overnight highs are and your overnight lows are, you're almost always going to get a bounce there, even if it's temporary, like this one right here. Look what happened. Here's your overnight low. Look what happened to the tick almost when we got there. Prices bounced really strongly there. And look at this double top from the overnight. Look what happened when prices got there. They broke through, but then they sold off from there. And a lot of times what will happen is they'll break through here and they'll sell off, and they may come back, and then the trend may continue if it's a trend day and go higher, but they're almost always going to bounce there. And another thing you can remember, you can almost buy on a range day, you can sell every new high and you can buy every new low. And just remember that. Here's your first low after the open, and so you could, that would have been your first low, and it was lower than that low, so it's a new low for the day after the regular open. And look, it was a nice bounce, and then we made another new low right here. What happened? You had a nice bounce, and then we're working higher. You had this is not really a new high, but you probably could be selling this because it's a double top. So every new high you can sell. There's your new high. You sell that one, and then you're coming back down. And you can just really, if you follow the price action, you can almost buy and sell every new high and every new low on a range day. So just keep, don't go selling that blindly or buying that blindly, but just remember that rule and try to keep it in the back of your head and remind yourself of that, because it usually sets up great trades. So, and look what happens over, we're in the overnight over here, but look what's happening. We hit this support area again, and what do you know, it's trying to bounce right there. That's what you expect. Even if it only bounces and comes back and tests this breakout area right here, that's probably what it's going to do. But even if it goes lower from here, you almost always get a bounce. So remember that. And just remember, you got to know where these strong support and resistance areas are. And there's no magic formula that tells me where to put these lines. I just look, here was your resistance yesterday afternoon, and look, we bounced there in the overnight. So that's where, before 8:30 this morning, that's where I had my line. And you got your double top right there, so I had my line right there, and that's where it was. And then, as the day goes on, we had a double top, I drew a line there. When we made a double bottom, I drew a line there. I actually had one down here as well. There's a double bottom right there. Double bottom right there. double top right there, triple top almost. So you got to remember to draw these lines. And anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. We're almost 20 minutes now. So this is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.